What's up, Cloud Gamers? Welcome to another episode of CGX Cast. I keep confusing cast with talk, but this is a cloud gaming podcast where we talk about the latest and greatest when it comes to the cloud gaming news, discussion, and just topic for the week. So we have some interesting stuff. We have special guests this week, but stuff that we're gonna be discussing. Gamescom is huge this week. Again, we got some special trailers of announcement of stuff that are coming when it comes to the cloud. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of our pros, some of our cons. We'll also quickly add some cloud gaming news. We know that Luna got their September lineup. We know that GeForce Now got the GFN Thursdays, and then also Google Stadia got their Google Stadia Tuesday announcement. So we'll throw that in there as well. But let's just get started. And again, we'll include you guys, people who are on the panel, who are watching. We'll include you guys in today's show. But let's take a sec and get the members of this panel's reaction. Just checking with them, see how they're doing today. So to get started, Duncan, how are you doing, sir? And just let us know what you're playing on what platform.
I'm absolutely awful today because I just watched Liverpool. And I'm just really, really frustrated after watching that. Yes, it's but gaming wise and other things, I'm absolutely spot on. It's been another big, busy week for me. I'm playing a game which I can't talk about, which is absolutely class, and not the game I was talking about before the show either. It's a different game. So I've been playing an unannounced game. I have also dropped into some Cyberpunk this week on GFN, and I've been racking up the hours in GFN, but it's been another great week for me gaming.
That's awesome, man. Good to see you gaming for sure. Monkey, how are you doing, sir? What have you been playing? What platform?
Absolutely nothing this week. Sorry, guys. I was out of the game. I was not unwell. The big man was trying to get me down to the depths of hell, but I managed to drag myself through. No, I did play. Do you know what I did do late last night? I jumped into Destiny 2 on Stadia to check out the crossplay, see how quickly we could get match made in that, and I'm so glad that that's there now, because all of the content I have for Destiny 2 has been purchased through Stadia. So all the extra raids and the strikes through the three season passes and whatnot and expansions that I've purchased are all locked behind Stadia, but I couldn't run them on my own, man, because there's no one to play with, and you can join as many clans as you like, but trying to coordinate and get everyone going was just an absolute nightmare. So I always ended up playing it on the GFN or through maximum settings and just sort of running the same raids over and over again. Other than that, absolutely nothing. I've been too unwell, unfortunately, but we're back now. We're ready to go, as they say.
I just have to say, man, I was a little concerned for your health, man. And, we've been chatting it up on Discord. Good to hear that you're doing better.
No, thanks,
crazy
man.
Week for you. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
For sure. All right, so you guys know on this podcast, we like to save the best for last, which is always our guest. We have the guys, let's call them, I was going to say boys, but I know some people sometimes don't like that reference. Let's call you guys the guys from Sound of Stadia. Really enjoy y'all stuff, really good stuff. It's it's a Stadia-focused podcast, if you guys don't know anything about it. So it's good to have you guys on here, Richie and Chris. Do you just want to give people an update on what you've been playing and what platform, and just a little bit about what you guys do for sure?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, of course. Chris, Richie, 2/3 of our Sound of Stadia team. That's our channel. We bring you a weekly Stadia and gaming news podcast where we round up all the news and kind of exactly similar as this, like kind of a discussional form. We have a chat back and forwards, pros, cons, everything basically around gaming discussion. We do weekly live streams, let's plays, first looks with and including the community. We've been doing it for well, coming up 2 years now, it would be going from strength to strength. Absolutely loving it, having a fantastic time, engaging with loads of new people. And yeah, that's what we are. We're gamers at heart. We play everything. Me personally, I'm just wrapping up on Mass Effect 2 as part of the Legendary Edition. Never played it before, so I'm just getting to the end of the second game, having a great time with that. And I've also just jumped back into Ghost of Tsushima for the Director's Cut. Which is probably one of my favorite games the last couple of years. So can't wait to dive back in and do New Game Plus with the expansion.
That's
awesome. Yeah, having a great time. And obviously my co-host here from the Side Quest show as well, Richie.
Yes, you make me want to play Ghost of Tsushima again now, but I keep at the moment I'm playing Control on PS5. I've tried about 3 times to start that game, but then I keep getting taken away to do other stuff, or I'll just be busy in life. And it's been another one of them weeks where it's like I've put about an hour into gaming this week. Unfortunately, nowhere near as much as I wanted. But hopefully tomorrow evening, I've got no plans. I'm going to sit down and get stuck into Control. Go. It's one of them. I'm enjoying it when I'm playing, but I can go like a week or two between like sessions when I'm playing.
Yeah. But were you playing Control?
PS5.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Good stuff. Always good to see, hear what games you guys are playing. I know, again, you guys cover Stadia, but as a gamer, games catch your interest, so it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
100%. We've said all along, like that's always been our mantra. Like we don't hide behind the fact that we're fans of gaming in general. Like if you listen to any of our shows, we are critical when we need to be. Like there's no denying it, and I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point through this show as well. Like especially when we get into Gamescom stuff. But the reality is, we're all gamers. Like we play everywhere. I have a Nintendo Switch. I have Game Pass as well. And like, if you're a gamer, just enjoy your games where you can, regardless of your platform.
For sure.
And that's what we have been doing.
Yeah. I would have to say that's something I really appreciate about your show. Like you guys call it like it is. If a game is dope, you guys let us know. If it sucks, you guys let us know. If Stadia is doing well, you let us know. If they're struggling, you guys let us know. So I appreciate the honesty and consistency with your coverage for sure.
Yeah.
But good stuff overall. But yeah, let's check in with you guys watching again. We are gonna try to include you guys in the chat, so do me a favor, you guys see that poll there? It's really cool to just continue to see it switch between in the middle of the podcast. So let us know which platform you thought had the best showing at Gamescom. Hit one of those 4 in the polls, and we'll continue to watch that. So let's just say what's up to you guys. Calm, it's good to see you on here. In LED, I always want to call you Indeed. In LED, it's good to see you in here. Richie, I think this is you, right? Makers of Chaos, always on here. Good to see you. RZ, good stuff, man. Good to see you. Zero Games for me. Good to see you. Host, where are you, bro? Where are you, man? Good to see you, though, Host. I know you're busy. Just like joking around with you. All right, so we have Polar. Good to see you as well. All right, so let's get right into this, man. We got so much to talk about. We're going to start with Amazon Luna. And again, the way we're going to do this is we're going to talk about the news for Luna and the other cloud gaming services. And then we're just going to talk about Gamescom and the appearance and if, they were talked about this week at all when it comes to Gamescom. But just, sorry, before we do that, I've been playing a lot of Psychonauts too. I'm surprised no one said that. This is a huge game they released for Xbox Cloud Gaming this week. I know if GTP and Chief was on here, they probably would have mentioned that, but that game has been eating a lot of my time. It's such a dope game if you guys haven't played it, and it's one of those games that's utilizing the new Series X blades in the cloud. So great performance overall, and that's been taking a lot of my time. And then I've been testing this out. I want to see if you guys can guess what that is. I'm not going to show you guys, but something that's right there, which a video is going to be coming out on it soon. But let's get into this, man. Amazon Luna, right? So you guys know they give us their September lineup. And the games that are coming to this platform for the month of September is Dice Legacy, Enter the Gungeon, and Olija. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But let's just check in with those games, and again we'll talk about their Gamescom presence here in a bit. But what are your thoughts about Amazon Luna getting these games in Luna Plus for this week. So to get started, Duncan, let's start with you on this one.
Yep, more games at that low monthly price for Luna. Not over here yet, so obviously we can't really go too much into that. We are patiently waiting, or not so patiently waiting. I think Luna has actually backed off a bit. They were stepping things up a couple of months ago, and it looks like they've just dropped it. I think the new word delay again has hit them bad. I think we're going to be talking about the delays later when we come on to other platforms. But again, they're adding more games in, which is absolutely great to see. Out from them games, it's more much of a muchness with them again. There's Enter the Gungeon, I think, is the big one there, and that is, I think, if you haven't played that, you're missing out, because that is a load of fun.
Okay, thanks for the update. So you watch Gamescom, Duncan, right?
I did indeed.
Okay, so we saw a big game announced for them, which is, you guys know, Amazon Studios working in the New World. They showcased a new trailer, which looked epic as heck. I mean, if this trailer doesn't entice you to get this game, like, I don't know what else would. But you saw Amazon's game studio logo on this, but Luna was nowhere mentioned here. Just, what's your take on that, man? What's good? Like, where was Luna for you at this event?
Do you want me to give me or tell you what my rating of Luna at Gamescom was?
Sure.
F. It's plain and simple. It's a straight F. They did not appear. So if you don't appear, you don't get anything. Technically, or you can say they did appear with Far Cry 6, but nothing else was really announced there for them. So it is a straight F for me. But I wasn't expecting anything from Luna at Gamescom, to be absolutely fair. I do not know what is going on with New World. That we know that's going to Luna. But why haven't they announced it yet? Are they worried about cannibalizing some sales and people might not buy the game because they know they can get in a subscription? Or is it not coming at all? I just want to know what's going on, because we do know that the store page or the store listing turned up on Luna. But I think we just have to suck it and see what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we will hear something, because New World goes into another beta next week or two. So hopefully we'll maybe hear something about that.
Right. Yeah. I think it's open beta officially, right, for New World. Okay, cool. How about you, Chris? What's your take on Luna's September game lineup, and also the them at Gamescom this year?
Yeah, it's great to see they're getting more games. I think it's kind of similar with all cloud platforms. They just add more and more to the library. Not a massive list of stellar games. I think Enter the Gungeon is probably the best out of those three. Dice Legacy is an interesting one. It's kind of like Age of Empires meets dice roll game. But other than that, the three titles as a collective, not ringing any bells for me massively out there. In terms of presence, like Duncan said, we hadn't had a chance over in the UK to even get an eye on it. I did have an email the other week briefly saying, do you want to sign up for the beta? And it was some kind of like US faulty one that sent out. And obviously I jumped through all the hoops just to be told right at the very end, still not available in your country. So that's doing the rounds. But in terms of presence, I think with New World, it's got to be coming, surely. Like, you wouldn't have your own in-house studios, your own cloud platform, and not push that as like your front runner of like a main one, maybe with some exclusive perks. Especially with the whole kind of mouse keyboard kind of PC leaning thing. But aside from that, I think New World looks great. I'm hearing loads of great things from the betas people have played. I've heard loads of people refer to it as kind of like the next World of Warcraft, potentially, just not in terms of scope and size, but in terms of similarities, and they're always looking for that next big thing to jump into. Yeah. So it looks great. I know Tom from our Sounds of Stadia crew, he's got in on one of the betas. He's given us some great feedback, and he's thoroughly enjoyed his time with it so far. So it is just kind of like Duncan alluded to, just when are they going to kind of stamp, seal, and deliver it and say, actually, yes, it's on Luna. It's going to be one of our arguably flagship titles on the platform. And will it be included with Luna Plus, more importantly, or will it become its own separate PC caveat thing? Who knows? But in terms of Gamescom presence, again, bare minimum, so can't really rate it if it didn't show up.
Yeah, sure. All right, thanks for all of that, Chris. Your thoughts on that. appreciate it. How about you, Richie? What's your take on just the September games and also the appearance at Gamescom?
I think we're largely in agreement here that the standout one there is Enter the Gungeon, which is the only one I actually played. So, it's the only one I'd actually even heard of before tonight. So, and Enter the Gungeon is a good get. It's not a huge game, but going to back New World, I just wonder with Amazon Luna, with it still being officially in a beta and not released worldwide yet, are they just keeping down on the marketing, so they're not going to get New World associated with Luna till they're ready to really launch Luna worldwide?
Ooh, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah. Okay. Definitely want to continue to watch and see. As Luna gets closer to release in New World, if they'll combine the both of them. But yeah, it's a good take on that. Yeah. Okay. Monkey, what's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think I alluded to what Richie said just there not so long ago. I believe that that Luna was going to launch sort of worldwide, possibly still in beta, with the release of New World. With the delay now, it's got me thinking, I think a couple of guys have already alluded to it. Would it be worthwhile putting that game on Luna? Because that could directly affect the sales with the reach that Amazon had, with the millions of Prime members that they have, and they're going to drop those emails. They're dropping those emails, in America right now. It's going to happen over the rest of the world once they finally do come out. Are they ready? Obviously not. No mention at Gamescom. Kind of don't really expect it from them because they are still in beta. They are still in the US only. I don't know what to make of Luna right now. They're just really slow playing it, and I can understand it, but it's also frustrating because I want to get my hands on it. I want to see what it's like, because you guys over in America yourself, GMR and GTP and Ben, you folks are loving it. You're saying that the streaming quality is really good, the graphic details is really good, everything that you're looking for in a cloud platform. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Just poking it with a stick, like do something. That meme, like do something. Listen, everyone's basically covered like my thoughts as well, so I can't really add anything other than do something, please.
True. So I just want to take a sec to say welcome as a new member. We were just talking about this the other day. We are in the process of really looking into our membership and revamping it, but really appreciate you just becoming a member. Just want to take a sec to say thank you. And again, more stuff are going to be coming to you members, so stay tuned for that for sure. But with Luna, I think this is quite interesting in New World. I heard you guys mention they don't want sales to be affected, right? If it's including Luna, it probably wouldn't make them as much money, right? Kind of like what Microsoft is doing with Game Pass. So my thing is how important is Luna to Amazon, and how important is their exclusive games to them, right? If they differentiated it, right, again, New World will probably make more money. I feel like they'll probably lose money, right, if they put that game on Game Pass with all the money that was invested into creating the game. But at the same time, that is something that I said Game Pass, Luna Plus. But again, that's something that can push Luna Plus to more people, right? So again, this in a way kind of tells me which one is more important to Amazon. I know Xbox Game Pass is, right? They are willing to take the hit to put the first party same day release on the platform. Is Luna willing to do that? And I think this is going to be quite interesting to see. If they're not with New Worlds, then in a way it tells us like which is their priority, I'm thinking. But yeah, this is quite interesting. As far as like Gamescom, like Duncan was saying, the fact that they weren't there is not good. Maybe they're not ready. But I think Luna's working on things in the background that we're not aware of. And they don't have to like let us. Hold on 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah, I think with all of this, it's very much kind of the chicken and the egg scenario where we've got, of course, the game studios existing prior to Luna, and then Luna coming out, and everyone just like, I would assume that you'd have it on the same platform. But I think we're right in thinking that will it eat into the sales? Does it create a different kind of image of, well, actually, you've got this amazing new title that's going to be everywhere, but it's not on your platform, and kind of the optics of what that gives off. It's a good place to be in because you've got the game exclusively made by your own studios. But then now we've got the dilemma of, do we put it everywhere? Do we limit it? Do we keep it on our platform? And it is that kind of chicken egg scenario where we don't know what Amazon's approach for it is and which one takes priority, because similar to chicken and egg, nobody knows which one.
Yeah, I just kind of think that either Amazon don't think Luna's ready, or Amazon aren't ready to push Luna global yet. So they're just playing the long game. So I think they're just trying to keep the two, the game studios and Luna, as separate entities for the time being. I don't necessarily think they're probably they probably are looking in the data. Well, if we put this on Luna, will it eat in sales? But then they've got, oh yeah, you can get this on Luna. Then everyone goes, well, no, you can't, because Luna's not available outside the US.
Longevity wise as well, it could possibly bring in, loads of revenue for the monthly subs, and that's only if the game is going to be as big as we sort of expect it to be, this MMO open world style of game. Will it be as big as ESO? Probably not. Those games are going to be really hard to the words have left me. To copy in the years to come, because everyone wants something new. They don't want the same old sort of same style of games, just done in a different sort of manner. At the end of the day, they all have craft, and they all have the open world elements. They all have the daily challenges. How engrossing is it going to be? Is it going to keep everyone coming back? And can it make Luna money over, a long period of time, say a year, 2 years, 3 years? Who knows? These are the questions that we're going to sort of soon find out.
This is the ironic, weird new world, pardon the pun, that we're going into with cloud and subscription. How like Game Pass is totally shaking up the entire industry and thinking, where is the value at? Where does the business make money? Where is, like, Game Pass undeniably is one of the best deals in gaming right now. Like, the value is unprecedented that you get for it. But then from the business side, I know we spoke about Outriders coming out this past week saying like they don't know if they've even broke even on making the game yet. And like the people can fly questioning Square Enix. And again, that's from like a long-term perspective. Amazon must be looking at this thinking, if we stick this on Luna, what's the return in subscription rates? As opposed to if we just sell it for full price, is that balance in the books? But then there's that long-term Game Pass idea of, well, actually, if it's great on the optics for Luna, if it brings us in millions upon millions of potential subscribers, is that not the better thing? So there must be people in their finance department crunching numbers and spreadsheets and looking at all this stuff, thinking, making good cases for both parties. And again, only time will tell with this cloud and subscription model, like how it's going to pan out long term.
So true.
I do feel sorry for the finance team between Square Enix and People Can Fly, man, because they did not expect that game to be so trash, man. That's why it hasn't made any money, because it is one of the worst games to come out in like the last 10 years. One of the most hyped and one of the worst releases, and it's still bad to this day. Like, just such a dreadful game. And it was really disappointing from such a big studio when People Can Fly. One of the biggest disappointments of the last few years is that game. Probably only second to Cyberpunk.
So from what I heard, you guys are talking about Outriders, right?
Correct.
Yeah. From what I heard, I thought there was an article that stated that they broke even the first week or something, and then sales wise, I thought they talked about like having 3 or 4 million members, right? Wasn't that the case? I thought
They
the game
had
did
a
well.
phenomenal launch and everyone was
right.
playing it, but then there was the money they're expecting was revenue from Square Enix, who were the publishers, who said basically when the games broke even, covered all its bases, that's when everything basically gets unlocked and they get the payments from them.
Okay.
So
And
it's something to do with that, and
Okay.
it doesn't seem. Again, they did this. It was their shareholders. It was the
Right.
People Can Fly actively said to their shareholders, like, we don't know where the bonuses are, and Square Enix seem to be keeping the news to themselves, which baffles me that a developer and a publisher don't share that kind of information between
That's
parties.
crazy.
But then again, different shareholders. It's business, and either. But yeah, it's very an interesting one that it did so well. But then this goes back to the Game Pass model. Has the Game Pass sales or lack thereof because of subscriptions hindered the actual outright purchases of the title?
Yeah.
Because I think Control, actually, going back to that as well, that broke even around about the 3 million mark, and that game cost a lot less to make.
Yeah.
But again, that's the world we live in. You make a brand new IP, you get all the hype up, and then if it ends up being a dud or not having the longevity and return on investment, it can disappear because, as we all know, the game industry moves at such a clip, such a pace. It's always what's new. It's always what's around the corner.
Yeah.
I mean, Outriders only came out a few months ago, and no one seems to be talking about it anymore, especially on certain cloud platforms.
Right. Ray says he wants his money back, man. And I'll be honest with you. This was a game we were really looking forward to here, and I played only 45 minutes, and the performance I got it in Stadia, and it was just so bad. And I checked back and still was having issues and never touched it again. But I agree, man. Just overall, not the greatest performing game for sure.
Yeah,
but
the Stadia port's terrible as well. I haven't got it. I'm glad I dodged that bullet. I really thoroughly enjoyed the beta, and then when it launched, when you get that feeling in your stomach, it's just this isn't the game for you at this moment in time.
Right.
Didn't buy it, dodged a bullet, but yeah, their priority for fixing the different versions of the game it's from a development studio. It's embarrassing, the lack of. I mean, you see it on social media how little communication they have about when they intend to fix things and patch it and the version of the game running. But then, ironically, I guess they're not getting money from their publishers, so they don't have the funding to pay the people to do the game. So it's kind of like a catch-22 circle we're in. It's not a good look.
But that's the unfortunate position where Stadia is in. It's they don't have the numbers to justify them to prioritize it, and that and we'll see that with other games as well. Does anybody know if Humankind's been patched on Stadia yet? Because that's just got a load of patches on PC. This is the sort of trap that Stadia is in, and being on the different sort of tools as well. It's not a good look. And going back to the Game Pass thing, Game Pass actually looks like it's actually helped Outriders, because that's what actually tipped Outriders. Outriders was under the radar, but as soon as it got announced from Game Pass, the Google Trends and things like that just took off, and that's when all the Xbox community started talking about it, and then the hype sort of started to really get generated for it. So Game Pass is an interesting beast.
I think that can be a bit of. I think it can be a bit of a double-edged sword, because Game Pass got people interested. Oh yeah, I've got Game Pass. I'll give it a go. Everyone tried it.
Right.
It wasn't what they thought it was. wasn't very good. So everyone left the game.
That's
where
true.
if it wasn't on Game Pass, it might have had a smaller initial launch, but the developers might have had more time to fix the issues before they get suddenly crucified for it.
Sure.
So it's an interesting situation. In a catch-22.
Yeah. And Phil Spencer was saying this week that, a benefit of Game Pass is just having the ability to, in a way, test out games. And you're right on that, right? Some guys just tested out, saw that it didn't run well, and they're like, or saw that the game wasn't just as fun. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I just had performance issue. But, yeah. Just might not.
I think from a consumer perspective, Game Pass is going to be very good, because as more people can just try before you buy using Game Pass, that means developers are going to have to make sure the games are coming out in a better state than that sometimes has happened in the past.
Exactly. So, which is good for Microsoft overall, right? Because your game is going to be tested by a large majority of people with Game Pass. So, they're going to have the best ports, hopefully, of games showcasing the platform. So,
Just remember, Microsoft isn't holding a gun to these developers and publishers' heads.
That's true.
They are wanting to go on to Game Pass because the deal that they've been offered
Yeah.
is good enough for them. So there is just so many caveats to that. If you want to have a good read on how Game Pass, the good things about Game Pass for developers and publishers, and the bad things, go read the Eurogamer article from a couple of months ago. Overall, it looks like developers and publishers are making a hell of a lot of money on Game Pass, and some indie studios have got basically their next 3 games paid for upfront because of going into Game Pass once. So there is lots of swings and roundabouts on that.
Yeah, and if you're an indie developer, you're going to take that, right? Like that's if you're
Exactly.
just future secured by just making this deal. And yeah, not as many people might play your game, or more people might play it. And like Richie alluded to, if it ends up being a smash hit, more people are willing to try it out if it's just part of a monthly subscription than dropping $20, $30, pounds, whatever it may be. But yeah, it is a double-edged sword where people can also try and go, I'll move on because there's another 100 games I could potentially try out instead. And it's like your time is like so perceived so differently when everything's just a la carte to choose from. You kind of get greedy with it and you just want a bit of everything. You don't dedicate to, like, if you're buying a game for $60, $70 outright, don't know about you guys, but I commit to playing that as much as it's getting my money's worth. So yeah, it's such a weird world we live in right now with all this stuff.
Right. So back to Luna real quick. So something I was just thinking, so you guys were all talking, right? Imagine if with Luna, they don't have to worry about, so we talked about if New World came on to Luna Plus, it'll help boost it, right? Just like how if Halo Infinite came to Xbox Cloud Gaming xCloud, it'll attract more people to service. But we've talked in the show about how Amazon has 120, Prime members, right? And we've talked about them attaching Luna to your Prime membership. So maybe they're not too worried about like gaining, members, because once they activate that wouldn't be an issue for them. They'll already have 120 plus by, next year, right? It might even be higher than that. So maybe numbers is not a game that they're willing to play with New World. And so when they activate that 120, whatever that number might be, right? That's 120 million people instantly able to access New World whenever they put it in Luna. So they might just like release it and then later on bring it to the platform once that's activated. Just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, they could also drop New World onto Luna as a purchase option. We know that there's already
that too. Yeah,
there's already DLC available to purchase for certain games as part of the Luna Plus subscription. I think going forward they will probably have some games for sale. I think it's going to be a slow build to it. Who really knows? That's the thing. We're just sort of guessing. What do I want? I want, as soon as New World comes out, I want it on Luna, and I want Luna to launch everywhere so that we can play it for $6.99 a month instead of shelling out £50, because at the end of the day, I'm a Scotsman and my wallet is welded shut. So, in an ideal world, that's exactly what I want, but it probably won't go down that way. It's Amazon at the end of the day, a company well known for scheming. I don't think they're going to give us it for free. There's going to be extras added onto subscription with games like that. There might even be another channel as well down the line for like Amazon only games, sort of first party games.
Ooh.
Depending, depending how many that they build up with their studios. I mean, in an ideal world, there's going to be one big sub, sort of like Game Pass Ultimate, I feel like, hopefully, where you could spend X amount a month and have access to all the channels. Hopefully, anyway.
Imagine an Amazon game channel. That can be a thing, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
you've got a load of games already. Like I look
Yeah.
at my Fire Stick, I can sit and play their games. Okay, they're not, of the AA, AAA sort of quality PC, Stadia, GFN games that we play, but they could throw those in there to beef up the subscription.
Sure.
So they could.
It's a
Yeah,
possibility.
we theorized like way back when Loon was first announced, and they showcased the kind of the cable TV approach to having the different channels. There's nothing to stop them. Similar to how in the UK we have Sky and the way they do all the different channel packages. There's always one or two channels that are separated to a different package, so it makes you go up to the medium, the large, the extra large package because of that one channel, because that one show that you or your other half loves watching. And they could do an exact similar thing here, where they simply take a list of games or a genre of games, and there's nothing to say there isn't an action RPG genre, a PC strategy genre, a sports genre, and just keep adding them over time and segmenting different titles off into different brackets. Because at the end of the day, it's all in the cloud. So all you're doing is just giving a different collection of links under a different umbrella, and the potential is great. Not even talking about the fact that it could be tied into Prime. So if you're a Prime member, you get everything, and that's kind of the value proposition that comes with that. But the potential is huge, and I think it is just kind of a matter of where they want to thread the needle and lay this stuff out for people to take their pick, essentially. The more choice, the better, in my take.
True. So I hope they work in all these things. And again, that's probably why they're so quiet and why we're not seeing much. My hope is that, these things are just being discussed and they're working on it. But again, I still think this service has potential to really shake up the cloud gaming space. They just have so much going for it, even though they're not giving us much right now. We just sitting here talking about what ifs, and man, just a lot of potentials when it comes to channels. They can get a lot of games, they can offer a lot. So yeah, let's see what happens. But bummer they were in at Gamescom, but let's see what they continue to do with this platform for sure. Anyone else want to add to Luna before we hop on to, I believe Google Stadia is next, right? No, GeForce now.
What I'm going to say is Luna seems to be edging up to be our most talked about section of the show now. It seems to be for the past couple of weeks.
It sneaks in. It's so interesting because if you look at the show notes, it's probably the least thing to talk about, but for some reason ends up taking a lot more time. It's crazy, but good stuff overall. All right, so let's move on to GeForce now. We had 11 games released this week. We had some Gamescom announcement with Dying Light 2 and Marvel's, I said the Avengers here, but Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, both coming day release on this platform, and also both getting RTX support. So that, I want to check in with you guys to see how that news was for you, but just to discuss the games releasing this week, we have King's Bounty 2, Icarus Beta, we have Automachef, we have Automachef. We have Before We Leave, Black Book, Check vs. Mate, Deepest Chamber, Hammerton, Ironclad Tactics, Old World, and Shadow Man Remastered. So we had this game releasing Thursday. On top of that, they give us the Gamescom news of RTX support, same day releases with Dying Light 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm going to open this up to the panel and see what y'all's take is with the GeForce Now news for this week. So to get started, Richie, what's your take on this?
Well, there's a couple of things. A lot of these games I've never even heard of. I mean, what was it? There was a chess game or something involved. But I think Icarus. I'm not really into survival games myself, but as an online co-op survival game, it looks really like a very interesting idea. Yeah. That's kind of the standout one for me on GeForce Now. With King's Bounty 2, every time I see the logo, my mind goes immediately to Age of Empires 2. So I probably unfairly dismiss it as, this is just a knockoff of Age of Empires, even though it's nothing. It's completely different games. Yeah. There you go. There's the logo. It just looks. So I just think it's when you see it's like Age. They're just trying
like a mobile version.
Yeah. So I unfairly dismiss it mentally. It's a bit unfair on the developers, but it's basically Age of Empires 2's logo in that game. I have Age of Empires 2
It looks similar. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. So he said the mobile version. Okay. That's hilarious. Okay. How about you, Richie? I mean Chris, what's your take on these games?
Yeah, similar thing. It's a lot of kind of smaller indie titles that I've never heard of a good 90% of them. King's Bounty I've seen covered quite a lot recently. It's had a lot of promotion being pushed out about it. It is, ironically enough, out of those ones, probably one of the ones I would lean into looking at a little bit more. But that's kind of what you get with online, like kind of massive stores like Epic and Steam and stuff. There's just so many titles that get pulled in from all corners of the planet,
right?
And there's never enough time to showcase them all, which is usually why they're condensed down to just a blog post with a couple of titles.
Right.
But yeah, King's Bounty, funnily enough, as Richie's saying, it actually does look really good. Lots of bits of action in there that I'd definitely check out. And the news about Dying Light 2 is fantastic. And I'm always down to play some more Marvel games, so win-win for that one.
Yeah. Cool. How about you, Duncan? What's your take on GeForce Now news for this week?
Okay, I will try and separate this out a bit. For me as a gamer, this was an absolutely amazing week for me on GFN. I already had 2 of these games on my wish list, and there's only one game which I don't want to play in that list, and it's only at this time, and that was Blackbird, because it needs a bit of work because it's an early access game. I had both Before We Leave and Old World on my Epic wish list. I know Hellmonkey is sitting shaking his head, but this is the thing about GFN games. We've said it before, we're going to continue to say it. Some weeks there's going to be absolutely no games at all, and some weeks it's going to be an absolutely amazing week for you. And this week for me was absolutely brilliant. If I'm taking off my own head as a gamer, and just looking at a wider thing, I think it was another okay sort of week. It was nothing really outstanding by the King's Bounty 2 day and date. The rest are just okay sort of pickups. They're not going to get really people pulling up any trees there, but it's consistency is key, and they are always consistent, and they are always bringing you the double figures every week. They're bringing more or less double figures. Again, for me as a gamer, I love this week, so I'm happy enough.
Okay, fair enough. And I'm seeing Ray here and Maker saying King's Bounty 2 is a pretty solid game and awesome game. A lot of people seem to like it. For sure, I haven't really touched it, but good to hear. How about you, Monkey? What's your take here?
Yeah, this week's games are not interesting me in the slightest. I went through every one and I just went, I was like, it looks good in the beginning, and then you see the word like real-time strategy, fucking city builder. Oh, get out of here, man! There's just too many of the same
You know
games.
why that is? That's because you have to think, and you don't like thinking.
Shots fired. I absolutely love strategy games, but there's only so many you can take, and then you get another one in the video, and the trailer looks great, the graphics looks great, and then it finishes up and it's a roguelike deck building, card building monstrosity, and you're just like, Duncan's gonna hate me right now. And you're like, get that out of here, man. Just let me swing an axe and mash up some orcs and stuff like that, and none of this pulling out cards and building decks. Oh man, leave that for like the actual tabletop games. This week's games, not really interested, but I am interested in Dying Light and Guardians of the Galaxy. I really hope Guardians of the Galaxy is not a disappointment, because I have been wanting a Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy game forever. They are my most favourite Marvel comics, movies, animated series. Oh, please don't disappoint me. Please do not disappoint me. I'm so looking forward to it. And with the addition of the RTX in that, I'm just, come on. No delay either, please.
I think for me, one of the biggest strengths that Guardians of the Galaxy's got going for it is the gameplay is focused on one character, your Star-Lord.
Yeah.
And that means a lot. That it's like the difference between Marvel's Avengers and Spider-Man in terms of how the game plays.
Mm.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is undoubtedly a more polished experience. You feel like you're Spider-Man. Where with Avengers, like, has anyone played Hulk? Felt like that actually the Hulk.
No.
That's one of the things I think Guardians could do really well.
That's
Because
true.
we're focusing on your Star-Lord. Let's just polish Star-Lord as much as we possibly can.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, just watching like some previews of the games that I noticed that too. Again, with the hog example that you gave, it seems clunky, and that was like my frustration with Marvel's The Avengers. It just seemed, I don't know, story wise, and this is to you, Monkey. Story wise, they did an excellent job with that game with the story. So I think like this being a story focused, driven single player campaign, it actually might end up good. But as far as like gameplay, just watching some trailers, it looks as clunky as the Avengers, and that's something I'm really hesitant about. So I hope that they can get that right.
I do that. I do feel the same way, but you know, just give me the jet blasters and my jet boots and just let me fly around, man. Freezing stuff and burning stuff, and you know.
Did you ever check out the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy game?
That was a great game. That was a great game.
No, when was this?
It's about 5 years, probably a lot longer ago than I actually think. It's surprisingly good. Yeah, I'd probably say about 5 years at this point. Yeah, it was probably one of Telltale's last entries before they went bust. But yeah, it was great. Again, very uncanny valley. I would have thought so. Yeah, I played it on PS4.
It was 2017. It came out.
Yeah.
Oh, 5
How
years.
did I miss that?
Yeah. Oh, you got
but yeah, great. Again, very uncanny valley because it's not quite the MCU counterparts. But once you kind of get past that, I think it's like Nolan North is voicing Rocket Raccoon, and again, it's just classic Telltale telling a story within that world. Meet a couple of characters along the way. I had a great time with it.
Yeah.
I, for one, do like the Avengers game. I'm probably one of the only few people who seems to genuinely enjoy playing that game. For all its flaws, I've put like 120 plus hours into that. And I have a great time. But I'm just a big MCU fan. As someone like we all probably grew up with movie tie-in games.
Yeah.
I'm just happy flying around as a superhero, beating random guys. So my brain just switches off. I stick a podcast on, and I run around and beat shit up, and it doesn't really.
Awesome.
It just kind of kills time. I love it. And I'm sure when Spider-Man finally comes out for those PlayStation users, it'll be another great character added to the roster.
Yeah, true. So I'm checking Xbox Cloud Game because I know they have a lot of the Telltale games on here, but I'm not seeing it on here.
It's been removed from the Steam store as well.
Oh, really?
I don't know how I missed that, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is where good old physical copies, if there ever was one.
Hunt eBay later for that.
True. So going back to GFN, and I would have to say here, week for GFN when it comes to releases. But as far as them, and this is something I'm sure it's going to come up when we talking about Google Stadia. As far as them realizing the moment, and they did this with E3 too, right? They see these shows and they're like, all right, we might not have a lot to announce here, but we're going to be mindful of the event, and we're going to try to make some noise and make an announcement. They did it with E3, and here they are doing it. I mean, RTX for these games are not like the biggest news in the world, but they're like, all right, this is a big enough event. Gamescom's huge, E3 is huge. We're going to try to just say something to put GeForce Now on the map. And again, RTX for these two big games coming out this year is a decent enough deal. And so shout outs to the GeForce Now team for being mindful of being present at these events. Again, it doesn't have to be like groundbreaking news, but they saw the opportunity and they said, hey, we're going to use this to announce something to put GFN, on the map. So again, we talked about Luna not making a presence, and we'll talk more about Stadia, but GFN at least made a presence, and for that, I just want to highlight it. But as far as like the games releasing this week, not my favorite. I, honestly speaking, didn't touch any of them. But yeah, that's all I have to say about GFN. Anyone else want to add to that before we move on to Google Stadia.
I just want to touch on one wee thing. It's something we actually brought up during our GFN show of this week. I'm not sure how many people actually know about the Steam DB, and you can see what games have signed up to be on GFN. And some of the games which have been announced at Gamescom have already ticked the box to say they want to be supported in GFN, even
That's
though
cool.
that doesn't mean 100% that they're coming. It actually surprised me when I actually went digging in this. There's nearly 3,000, or so we're just double checking. I was actually looking up a title there on it. There's nearly 2,400 titles signed up on Steam to be supported on GFN, and that list is growing all the time. So I think, again, that doesn't mean that the games are coming. It's just like an indication of games what will want to come. And if you actually go digging in that list, there's a couple of interesting titles there, which hopefully we'll find out about next week.
Interesting. And you saw the interview that they gave, and they're like, it's a matter. It's not a matter of if they come back. It's a matter of like when. So I think, we were like, oh, he sounds, arrogant and cocky. But I think just you talking about this list, they're aware of how many of these publishers are thinking about come back to the platform, and so that's probably why they sound as confident as they do. But that's cool. Good to know. Good to know for sure. Anyone else on GFN before we move on to Stadia? All right, so Stadia happened. As you guys know, every Tuesday we get updated with some Google Stadia news. And again, we'll tie in Gamescom with the presence there. But we got some expansion for Watchdog Legions, if you guys still play that. Some release expansion for that. We got the Pro Games, which I would say is a pretty decent month for Stadia Pro Games. I'm trying to find that. Here we go. We got Darksiders Too.
I concur with Hellmonkey.
I wouldn't watch it, but we'll get to you guys here. So we got Darksiders Too, which I think is a pretty good game. I actually played this when it was released, and I enjoyed it. Little Big Workshop, which I covered this game, complicated game. Couldn't really get into it, but for a pro game for free, I think is good. Now Wave Break, I don't know. This is the interesting one because if you guys know me covering the channel, this was actually one of my most hyped games, and to me when it released, it was kind of a letdown, but I have friends who still play it, and they said there's been a lot of improvement made to this game to where it's actually quite decent now. So we're getting Darksiders 2, Little Big Workshop, and Wave Break coming as pro games for Google Stadia. And I think the fact that we're getting these games for free, they're decent, right? Not the greatest games, but decent enough. And again, remember, Darksiders 2 is a game that was not released on Google Stadia previously, so it's actually a new game to the platform. And then we have some sales, and then Destiny, the Witch Queen 2 expansion as well. So let's grade this, right? And again, include your Gamescom Stadia presence in this as well. So let's start with Chris. What's your take on Stadia news for this week and also the presence at Gamescom?
So to split up into the two, the community blog Pro Games for September, I think it's a middle of the road month. Darkside is definitely the bigger title to go in there. Wave Breaks, really, really fun, fantastic. I'm not someone who ever was really that good at the old Tony Hawk's titles.
Yeah.
we did a first look with Tom and Richie, and I just got absolutely... I'm usually good at most games across the board. Like, I can usually perform quite well when it comes to it. But yeah, something to do with the combination buttons. It's why I don't like fighting games. I'm just not good at remembering the combos and putting them into practice. I don't have the mental capacity to keep up with that type of button mashing. So yeah, but in terms of aesthetics, I love Wave Break. What it is, it's just it's bears on jet skis performing skateboarding tricks. Like, what more could you ask for? Throw in an Uzi in there, and yes, they have a gun as well. What? That's crazy. Really good fun. If you've not checked it out, it's great. The Little Big Workshop for me is something I've had my eye on for quite some time. It's different. It's unusual compared to what else is on the platform. but also it's sat at that $17.99 price point. Whereas anyone who's been on Stadia Pro for some time will know that maybe just hang fire, bide your time, and eventually you can whittle it down to there's not enough games in the library yet still that this will pigeonhole itself as a pro game. And I've won. I've waited my time. I haven't spent £18 on it, and here it is as a September pro game. My final point for the programs that I would like to add, which I'm sure lots of people are thinking of it as well. September sees the end of summer, and 3 pro games is usually a little bit short for what we're given. Are our suspicions of Ark Survival Evolved finally arriving before the summer is technically out true or not?
I've got to cover this in my point. We are missing a pro game this month. Does anybody remember what this pro game was meant to be?
Oh, I didn't expect the quiz question, Duncan. Give us a tip. Give us a clue.
Yeah,
the sequel's coming. I've actually forgot the name of the game. Now I can say the game. It's the Square Enix adventure game, which is like a telltale game. Life is Strange.
True Colours.
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah, the remaster was pushed back.
We were supposed to get Life is Strange this week or this month, and that is why this is a lot weaker. So I think that would add into why, or I'll let everybody else speak, but that's one of the reasons why this is, for me anyway, a weaker sort of thing. So
dude, I would have loved to play that game. I would have loved to. I always said I wanted to play Life is Strange and was really waiting for that.
Yeah, we said it's very odd that now, because of the delay, you've got this weird scenario where, like, most people who've never checked out the franchise would ideally like to jump in at the original game, remastered, and then jump into the brand new one that's coming out. Thankfully, Richie will attest to this. Is like we've played, but I've got the platinum on PlayStation on this. Is they're totally separate. So playing the new True Colors game and then going back to the remastered one in 2022 when it comes out. Yeah. You won't be, maybe a couple of Easter eggs here and there, maybe a side character shows up. But aside from that, there's no kind of overlapping story arc that you're going to miss out on. So it does benefit from that. But that's a great shout, Duncan. I totally forgot that was going to be September's title.
I think with Life is Strange, the only one I'd say is play the original Before the Storm, because Before the Storm is a prequel to it. So just to avoid like potential spoilers or anything. But 2 is a completely separate game, separate characters. True Colors seems to be the same again.
Okay. Did you guys enjoy the game?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yes. Very similar to a Telltale game. Tells a really good kind of story about 2 teenagers who I guarantee some part of our lives we've suffered the same emotions that they go through in that story. It's very much a coming of age tale.
I've been eyeing that game for the longest time, and I think touch controls with those Telltale type games is a beautiful combination. So I think this will be a good game for Google Stadia for sure.
I think the standout for especially like, I haven't finished Life is Strange 2, but one Before the Storm is just the characters. They all are so well written. They actually just feel like these could be just real people. Yeah. They're not like one note tropey characters. Everyone's got a bit of complexity to them. Literally every single character you meet, which really fleshes out the world. So
I've heard nothing but good things about this game. So
definitely. That's why it's getting a remaster. But that does leave us one game short, which again, I don't know what you guys think. Will we see Ark? Will this fiasco, this whole saga finally end?
What will come first, Ark or Mafia?
Don't even.
I hope Ark.
Don't mention Mafia. Come on.
They did say summer, right? They came on Twitter and said the game is still scheduled for summer. Yeah. So we still got like...
It's 22nd of September. I can't remember who pointed out, but they said that's like the definitive date, end of summer. I personally, I don't know, everyone in the UK, I usually just go off summer holidays when the children return to school for the next term year. That's like next week. So September doesn't feel like a summer month to me. That's very much in the autumn time. So again, with it's that thing where I just don't give a shit about Ark anymore. I'm over it. I've moved on.
Moves on play comes out.
Yeah, Mafia, Ark, I don't care anymore. Just if they're out, great.
It's so interesting because I feel like you know, for some Stadia games, people will hype the crap out of it, and I was one
Oh,
of those
yes.
people. Like
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls, you know, when that game, that was like the second coming. You know, like when that game was gonna be announced and then was released and then came out, and I think Meg is probably the only one who still plays that game on Stadia, man. No,
I think
it's
Tom
just-
jumps in from time to time. Our other
Yeah.
co-hosts, but
Hey, let's
Okay.
just remember we are getting another Skyrim release as well, so you
Yeah.
can't deny that.
But not the Stadia.
Well, yeah, exactly, definitely not.
But okay, so let's how I think we were going with you, Chris. But where rating Gamescom? Where what would you say about Google Stadia's presence there?
Non-existent. They weren't there.
Yeah,
They weren't
are
at
your thoughts
E3.
on
They
that,
weren't
though?
at Summer Game
Yeah.
Fest. They weren't. Aside from the Ubisoft stuff showing up, and then the titles that
Right.
we already know about, it's the same old story. It's just all silent on the Western front. Just
So
nothing.
what's your take on that? Just realistic. I know we have an opinion about that here.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. Just want to hear how you guys feel about that.
We've been shouting since probably episode 16, 17 of the podcast, and we're now up to recording 101 this weekend. A
Congrats,
roadmap.
man. That's
A roadmap is what they need. Like
Yeah.
we keep getting like people saying stop mentioning a roadmap, but
Yeah.
again, I might as well use. Well, I've got a totally different audience.
Yeah.
Every business needs a roadmap. Every consumer business needs a roadmap.
Right.
As a someone who's bought into the ecosystem, I want to know what's coming in the future.
Right.
And silence does not work when I've got every other platform going, oh, next January you can play this, next March you can play this. Oh, sorry, it might be delayed, but at least you've got a date to work from.
Yeah.
And yeah, silence doesn't work in this industry. And
Yeah.
they still seem to be sticking to their guns with, we'll just do a cheeky stealth drop here and there. And it's great. You get the hype in the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same frustration time and time again that I'd like to know what I'm playing at the back end of this year, because at the moment, like I said at the top of the show, I've got Mass Effect 3 to play next. I've got Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. I think at the moment, as terms of big titles, we don't know we're getting Guardians of the Galaxy. That's not been confirmed.
Right.
We're getting FIFA. There's no Call of Duty. There's no Battlefield. And in terms of roadmap, what am I playing through October, November, December?
Yeah. Supposed to be
I know this
NBA
game's
2K,
coming,
but
but
that's not coming.
yeah, exactly. It's just
Yeah.
again, I just think from a consumer standpoint, clarity in what we are to expect. We've not had a Connect in over a year. We've had a little good stuff event and a couple of stealth drops, and yeah, I like the we know the platform works, but in terms of marketing, it still leaves a lot to be desired. And I think missing out on the biggest summer events in the games industry and not having a presence at all, it isn't a good look. No matter how small you are. I know Luna's got that great safety blanket of still being in beta, and that's a smart approach from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're coming up on 2 years old, and again, we still don't even know when Ark's coming or Maffia's coming. It's almost laughable to an extent, but that's my take on it.
Right. What do you think this means for the platform, though?
I don't think it'll change their plan whatsoever. I think they've got a roadmap internally, clearly, of what they want to do. They add little changes to it, and the service works, and they'll be getting games. But again, I'm a firm believer that it's the long game. I think just bide your time. The library will grow with every newer title they get. It's getting bigger and bigger. We know we're coming up on the 200 games, but yeah, it works. So I'll keep using it. I don't have to announce that I'm cancelling Max Pro. I just play games where I want to play games. I just happen to talk about games on the side on a weekend as part of a podcast as well. But like we said right at the beginning, we'll talk about it in our own opinions when it needs to be said. And the reality is, if I don't know I'm playing Guardians of the Galaxy this winter, on Stadia, I know where I'll certainly be playing it, and that's on my PS5 in the other room. Like, I'm a gamer, I'll just play wherever the games are. I just love the convenience Stadia brings.
Yeah, agree.
So it's no disrespect to the platform or the tech, it works. As someone who plays on the platform with the tech, I just want to know what games I can play in the next few weeks, months.
Yeah,
that's all.
I feel like from just gamer people here, we talk about like wanting Holtz. If he was here, he'll probably say this. I'm speaking for him, but he likes to see what's coming in the future so he can know what to pre-order, right? What just to get ready. And Stadia has a good pre-order page showing us Far Cry 6 and Life is Strange, but Madden's out, FIFA's coming, but take those games out. It's just like, what else? It's coming. You look at the competition, and I don't know. I don't want to like have this be it, but this is an opportunity. Again, GFN made noise. It wasn't the biggest noise, but they were like, hey, look, we're still here. And these are little things we have coming for the platform. But yeah.
That's the thing for me as well. With GFN, you said they didn't make a lot of noise, but they were there, they were present.
Yeah.
And I think that lends them a lot of credibility. Because when
Absolutely.
it comes to it and people looking to invest in the platforms, there's certain events that you're expected to be at if you're a platform holder.
Yeah.
E3's one of them. Gamescom's one of them. Game Awards is one of them. Even if it was just a trailer of just the platform, it just literally an advert, something that's going, yeah, we're involved, but when you're completely absent, especially when there's a bit of a narrative of Stadia as it's a dead platform, and then a big gaming event comes and goes, and you weren't there, you're just kind of really leaning into the own negative narrative around your platform.
Yeah. Right.
Like, yeah, go and look at GeForce Now, millions miles better than Stadia's how it's viewed in a lot of circles. And it's because they just keep occasionally turn up, even if it's just a little bit. Yeah, we're also here. We're working on stuff. We're getting new games. But I think Stadia gets forgotten about a lot.
Yeah.
And it's kind of on the Google's team, like, to kind of address that. And the thing is, they're not, the IGNs of the world are not going to do it for you. I think they just need to be more. They need to be more aggressive. They need to go, no, we're here. We're here to stay. This is why you should be excited about our platform. And all of us have played Stadia. We know the tech works absolutely fine.
Yeah.
We just need to know what is coming to the platform. Why should I spend my money on the platform when, like Chris, I've got a PlayStation 5 sat downstairs?
Yeah. They just need to start waving their own flag. They keep telling us everything's coming. So as a business, like, promote yourself.
And stop stealth dropping everything. A stealth drop can work once in a while if it's unexpected. If it's like on stage at like E3 and by the way, it's out now. Yeah. And like, oh my God, it's out now. Everyone gets the phones out and buys the game. Yeah. But you don't need to stealth drop every single indie game.
Yeah. Was anybody else aware about there's a perfect thing that could actually push really heavily this week in Destiny 2, the Witch King?
Cross-platform.
Or Witch Queen on Stadia. How many people knew there was a physical release for that for Stadia?
Yeah, I saw that. I've been saying for a long time I'd love collector's editions. We joked before we actually went live today, but I'm someone who collects like memorabilia and stuff. If you just give me that with a digital code and put it in an actual storefront, so rather than buy the game, you can still get your statue, your little collectible art book, whatever it may be, the soundtrack, and just give me a digital code for Stadia.
It just has a little card with a code in there.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, that's exactly what happened with the Witch Queen for Stadia. It's sold out.
Nikes, wow.
It's sold out. Yeah. It's sold out in the UK anyway.
Where was this on sale, Duncan?
I have it here. I'm gonna share my screen. This is crazy.
This is the big frustration. That could be a really big thing they could have pushed, even though it's sold out. Oh my goodness, they could have. This is sold out after 10 minutes. We're going to try and work with our friends at Bungie to see if we can get some more, even if it's complete another BS. They were going to do that. They could have just said that to get some hype, because if things were to sell out.
Well, if I knew about that, we would have been talking about it, like on the podcast. That's a story for the podcast right there. Stadia gets its first physical collector's edition. Yeah, right there. There's you go.
But that's something that would, when like the retail world and lockdown restrictions lift around the world, this is the kind of promotion and presence you need in your Walmarts, your games, your I can't think anywhere else around the world that does it. You're just supermarkets. So then people see and go, Destiny 2. What's that logo? And then you say I can play it on all these other devices, and that's the kind of marketing that.
Whatever your brick and mortar store of choice. Just walk in, you got your PlayStations, you got the Xboxes, you got your Nintendos, have a Google section where you can buy your Chromecast, you can buy your controllers, you can pick up just digital codes, you can pick up Play Store vouchers to add to your wallet, any physical collector's editions. That's the sort of stuff I think when people go in, they see it and go, oh, that's still about. Oh, wait, it's actually the Premier Edition, so that's quite cheap, that I might give that a go.
Yeah, it just piques your interest, and having a physical presence outside of the second-hand Premier editions in the glass cabinet that's with the old mobile phones and stuff. It just needs some presence. But again, I know like the last 18 months have been a bit weird for everybody in every high street and such. So there could be stuff in the pipeline, and hopefully these collector's editions might just be the beginning of a new approach. But again, it's always waiting in silence, and we just never really know.
There's nothing for Stadia to lose by having these collector's editions. Either people buy them or they don't. Ultimately, it's Bungie who will get most of the money. Stadia just give them the code.
For me, this would have been just free advertising. They tweeted this out. Our first collector's edition on Stadia, a physical collector's edition, go get it. And this was sold out, I think, within a day, if even it lasted as long as that. And then they could have tweeted again, no, this is sold out. I know they may sound a bit stupid, but that creates demand. It just gets people talking. It's just a wee simple thing they could have done again.
So it might be sad to say, but do you think Stadia was even aware that they had this product?
Probably not.
I think they're probably aware, but they seem to have a thing where they like to keep the cards close to the chest when the rest of the world's screaming, like, please just show us your cards.
Yeah. So we had an interview last year. I forgot who it was they were interviewing, but they were saying that based on the reception that they got about the shows not being as great and coming out too early and not being ready, they have decided to keep things closed. So I think we know why they're doing that, but that was last year. A lot has changed. I think it's time to stop that. Well,
that was a bad strategy last year.
Yeah, it was.
Because you're already removed from the issues at that point.
Yeah.
That was John Justice in his interview with I forget the fella's name in the company, but he basically said, we're not gonna announce anything, we're just gonna do it and you'll have it. I'm like, I remember at the time I was just like, what the fucking, that's not a marketing strategy. How can you run a business like this? It just didn't make any sense to me, and I'm no expert, but if I've invested in this product, I want to know where it's going to be in 6 months' time, what I'm going to get in possibly 6 to 9 months' time. Give me a reason to keep investing and part with my money.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. All right, so let's continue. I think we only covered one person so far with this, and Stadia tends to do this, man, with our show. But Richie, what's your take on the Stadia news and also the presence at Gamescom?
Our Gamescom presence is definitely an A+ for me.
Drop the mic.
I've already said, like, the lack of presence. I think every time one of these events comes, the narrative goes back to the lack of presence. It's the lack of credibility of the platform in the eyes of many people. Those who give it an honest try know it works. You just need to sell it. Just sell the platform to people. That's all they need to do, really.
Yeah.
With the pro games, I think Life is Strange was probably going to be the flagship in that list for me. Even though I have played, I would have been tempted to play it again. I am still tempted to play again on PlayStation. But like Chris said, Little Big Workshop's one of them I was kind of hoping out for to come to pro, and we won out. So I'm actually quite happy. I'm okay with this month's pro games.
Yeah. I think it's decent, but again, I think if they would have, imagine if Ark would have made this list and Life is Strange. I mean, that's 5 games, and what we have 2 or 3 AAA or double.
Ark could be a mid-month
drop.
Drop, yeah. One Tuesday we'll get a blog post. By the way, Ark's out on Friday or something.
Yeah, exactly. The stealth drop again.
But that would have been much better if they said it's coming September 7th, back in March, maybe April, May, June, July, August. Like, that would have been a better build. Like, we're getting it in.
It's September. Coming. It's a pro game. It's going to be September, and then in this week's blog post, it's going to be middle of the month or something.
Yeah,
there you go.
And I get it's like it's down to devs and stuff as well, but they just put, like, Gamescom put dates on Horizon and a bunch of other titles from every other platform. So if everyone else can manage it, just and get me a date for Mafia while you're at it.
So this is quite interesting, and I just want to get y'all's take on this because I had other people also talking about this. And if you, the Apple and the course thing that was going on, the question was asked, but they didn't get a direct answer of like what is going on with Stadia. And so if something was mentioned about it just being like a skeleton type run business, like nothing more, just surface stuff going. And just what's y'all's take on this? Do you think like Google is just trying to do the bare minimum to keep this platform going, or do you think they're still highly invested in it? Just anyone can answer, and then we'll
Okay,
continue.
I'll jump in. We covered this in our amazingly popular, with many, many downvotes, What the Stadia Done Now show. During this Google and Epic and all this sort of shenanigans, the timetable is very, very interesting in it. If you go and look into it, in November, Google was all in games. Absolutely, we are 100% in games, basically describing Stadia. 3 or 4 months later, come February, March, Stadia Games and Entertainment is shut down. There is something really weird going on at Stadia at this moment in time, and continues to be. It just feels like they're treading water still, and I don't see a massive investment in the games, and because that, as we've all been talking about tonight, that come October, November time, there's nothing coming. There's not, outside of Ubisoft, the cupboard is bare for the big massive publishers for the money which they've transferred, and many people thought was getting transferred to bring these games across is just not there. And there's something I tweeted a couple of days ago, just to get people thinking. Google are paying Apple $15 billion a year. That is $15 billion a year just to be their search engine. So it isn't like Google's short a few quid. They have got the money there. So I don't think Stadia is the problem. It's Google's the problem, and there's just not enough of investment. There just needs to be a lot more money going into it.
Yeah. So I make this joke and I get laughed at for it, but GDC, if you guys watch the first 5 minutes when Sadil or whatever it's not whoever who the CEO is of Google, I can't remember his name right now, but he started off the conference by saying, I don't play video games. And when I play games, is stuff like indie little games. I mean, that is the CEO of Google, right? He was like, we're bringing Phil Harrison in to lead this project. You compare the CEO of Google's relationship to the CEO of Stadia, and then you compare the CEO of Microsoft relationship with Phil Spencer, how in a way they go hand in hand. I do think Google just doesn't understand what it takes to like invest or run a video game business or company, and I think that might be where the issue falls here.
But I think it's an interesting take, but comparisons are always hard to make when I think Stadia, Luna, and cloud gaming in general is such a difference. Because then I could counter that with saying that CEO of PlayStation, Jim Ryan, clearly does not seem like a gentleman who plays video games. He's an out-and-out suit businessman. Some of the stuff he said in the past couple of months about the old Gran Turismo games and such. But then, again, looking at like what the approach is, we can say cloud is in such its infancy right now, a few years at that. But then compare it to another behemoth, Nintendo, their cloud and internet infrastructure is absolutely terrible. Their online gaming, their matchmaking, they've got the e-store, but it's not a thing on the level of like Xbox and PlayStation's online infrastructure. And they've been around for years. So it's kind of like, you've got to take it as it is. And the reality is, we talk about the games and investment. These companies with these massive, massive servers and cloud in general, and like Duncan was saying, the millions been invested in other areas of the business. it's just another wheel on the spokes of these massive companies, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, who deal in millions and billions and stuff, money that we can all only hope to achieve in our lifetimes.
Right.
They're playing the long game. Like, that's it. Whether Stadia ends up being this or something different, or Amazon Luna takes off, I think you need to look at this in 10, 15, 20 years. Not anything we say now is, I think, and what we do now is totally, I mean, not putting too fine of a point in it, but I just think it's so young, cloud gaming in general, and whether it goes or gets rebranded or sold onto another company.
Yeah.
It's such early to say right now. But
True.
For me, I'm just happy to be along for the ride, quite frankly.
True. And again, I think you're right on with like cloud gaming still in its infant stage. You know, like it's gonna take a minute for it to like blow up and be something big that everyone's hoping for it to be. But yeah, it's yeah. Let's check in with Duncan here.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Oh, was this for the Stadia Pro games and Gamescom?
And Gamescom's presence,
yeah. Joy. I think this week's blog post was weak. I think the games this month on Stadia Pro were weak. Just to put this all in perspective, a lot of us have been talking about Darksiders 2 is probably the biggest sort of game of the week. I played that on live. There we go. That's what I've got to say, which is the granddaddy of the cloud gaming services. And I pre-ordered that on live as well, which is even more scary because I've actually got the email to prove it, which we'll go down that rabbit hole. I'm just concerned where Stadia is going. It just feels rudderless at this moment in time, and there is no direction. I know there's a lot of talk that Stadia is going after the casual market, which I absolutely hate the term casual market, because can someone define a casual gamer to me? Because you can
mobile gamer.
A mobile gamer. If someone's pumping in 100 hours a week into a game, are they hardcore or are they casual? See, this is where
I want to know who's got 100 hours spare a week to pump in a game.
He can't pump. I pumped in. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Stop talking about pumping.
Yeah, yes, we will. We will move on. But I'm just concerned in where Stadia is going, and following the disaster which was Gamescom for Stadia. Who is Stadia targeting? Because if they're targeting lapsed gamers, xCloud is probably going to be the best place for these people to go, because you know you're going to get the games, you know it's only a subscription. Stadia is a paid for service. You are expecting games which are day and date on Stadia because you're buying games on Stadia. It is not a subscription for service first. And I just don't see where they are going, and it has been absolutely great to see so many people get back into gaming because of Stadia. But we can see this over nearly the last 2 years. There's been such a massive churn within the community where people have actually started playing games on Stadia, and then they've just went on to the other consoles or got into PCs, but because you cannot trust Stadia to bring the games, and gaming is about the games, and it goes back to the roadmap. We have seen people this year move on to other things because F1 isn't coming. We've already started seeing people looking at getting other systems for NBA and NHL. There's just so many games not coming to Stadia, and people are just moving on, and they just need to do something. They need to adapt, and if they move to a subscription model, just a pure subscription model, I think things would become a lot easier for them.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at grade for Stadia from Gamescom, it's an F.
Okay. Luna was an F too. Right, for you. So 2 Fs.
Yeah.
Okay. Monkey, take on this.
Yeah, not overly fussed with the pro games for this month. It's I think like sort of Chris and Richie said, it's decent enough games that are added into your subscription. It's not very beefy, and yeah, we are missing that one from Life is Strange. As for Gamescom, just another disappointment. I can't really add anything more than what the guys have said. Look, Stadia's a platform, now it's, the leading cloud platform. You expect them to have some sort of presence at these events. They need to be at these events. Going forward, I hope they are. I can't really add anything else. I think you guys have covered it all really well there. Yeah, I just want to see a wee bit more, but we've been saying that for a while, so it's kind of like a broken record. I just want to see more in terms of advertising and, a bit more sort of faith shown by Google themselves and their Stadia division would be great.
Yeah. So when it comes to Stadia, man, as you guys know, I make the comfort effort to not get any other platform, right? So when it comes to gaming, I choose to only do cloud. I don't have a console. So Stadia for me, again, I have 4K monitors, TVs, and all that stuff. It does it for me because it's the only cloud game platform that can do 4K. Stadia is my cloud gaming platform of choice. If a game comes out on GFN, Xbox Cloud Gaming, or Stadia, I end up buying in Stadia because I have a Google TV and Chromecast connected to every single one of my TVs, and Google Stadia runs on most of my TVs because, again, it can put out 4K. So my wallet is open. I would challenge anyone to compete with me with Stadia Game Library because the members here will tell you I pretty much buy all my games on Google Stadia. And right now I'm just like, yo, what's next to buy, right? I have Far Cry pre-ordered. I have Madden, which I paid $100 for. I played it once or twice, haven't touched it again. Have FIFA pre-ordered, have Life is Strange, the new one, pre-ordered. Had Humankind returned it because I didn't like it personally. But my thing is I'm looking at the fall lineup right now and I'm just like, we'll get into Xbox Cloud Gaming in a bit, but they have a lot of games that has my interest. GeForce now has Kenna come in. They have Guardians of the Galaxy come in. They have Dying Light 2 come in, and I'm sure they're going to get all of these Ubisoft games too because they have Uplay Plus on there. They have a library of games that interest me, right? Luna, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but hopefully we know soon, right? But I'm I'm like, what is next for this platform? And I was hoping at E3 or Gamescom or possibly hosting their own Connect to give us like I keep saying this and people don't like this, right? The EA deal we know is gone. 5 games is done. What's going on with Take Two? 2K's not coming. Damn it. That's like my go-to game. That's probably the most games I've put the most hours into. I have over 100 hours in both 2K 20 and 21 each, right? 2K22 is not coming. Damn it. Where am I going to play that game in the cloud again? I'm only going for cloud, right? So I was hoping that we get an event that's like, all right, we are re-signing a partnership with EA. We got more games coming, Battlefield, whatever. We're signing a contract with 2K, getting games like 2K22, whatever. Like we signed a deal with Capcom, giving us more games other than the 10 million we paid for Resident Evil, games like Devil May Cry 5. I'll take some backward catalog games. The Resident Evil Remastered 2 and 3, I would love to take that. Square Enix, again, is supporting us with Life was Strange, but how about give us some Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy? Those are the games or things that I was hoping to see with Google Stadia going on the rest of the year, but I'm not seeing that, and that scares the crap out of me for this platform. we talked about white labeling. If it goes white labeling, cool, right? Again, I have a lot of investors. So I'm still gonna rock with this platform, but just from a consumer perspective, they're not showing me that this is something that is something they're going to support long term. These games should, and people made the argument, right? If they cancel in first party studio games, they should at least like get the AAA games. They did that earlier this year with Outriders Resident Evil, but I think those contracts were made previously. So what's next for this platform? And the appearance at Gamescom just didn't do it for me. These pro games didn't do it for me. And I'll just be real with you guys, man. It's concerning. It's concerning. That's all I can say about this. So that's my take on Stadia. And anyone else, if you want to add to it, do. And if not, we'll move to Xbox Cloud Gaming for sure.
I just want to say the reason why some of us are really hard on Stadia is because we wanted to succeed. The promise was there when it launched, or in the build up to launch, we should say. We've been watching the platform change and evolve, but the same old problems which started at launch are still here to this day. Communication is still diabolical. And I just want to know what games are coming. It's just be upfront. We've got 40 more games to come this year, thereabouts. So that's a couple of games. That would be a couple of games a week, wouldn't it? And then around that we should be getting. Just tell us what's coming. The stealth drops are absolutely awful. At this moment in time, it goes back to my point from earlier. You just don't know what Stadia is at this moment in time. Is it and I don't want to use it. Is it a platform for DAPS gamers who are just trying to get back into the game and there's a quick fix? Is it a platform for where it's only going to be your platform, or is it just a test bed for the white labeling? It's just, this is where they're going to chuck a couple of features, chuck a couple of games, get some people playing them so they can show it off to get the big publishers and developers to actually use the hardware. There just seems, I think, again, it just comes, we just need more communication to see where Stadia is going.
So I'll be honest with you, Duncan. I don't think Google knows what Stadia is supposed to be right now. They had a plan, right? They came out at GDC, they laid out their plan, but obviously that didn't work. And I think right now they are in a rebuilding phase and they're trying to figure out what is Stadia, what's it going to be. And I think that's why they did not communicate with us, because honestly, I don't think they've figured it out themselves. And I think they are trying to figure out what is Google. I mean, to have John Justice leave, how many months ago, that's a major shakeup, right? So like, what's going on with, did he leave? Did they fire him? Because if he left, right, that's a certain like big person leaving. Who's going to take his role? What I think they're trying to figure out what this platform is, and that's why we don't even know, because honestly speaking, they might right now not even know. And so I don't know, man. I hope they figure it out, because again, the tech is there. They can kill it. It's just a matter of them doing what they're supposed to do, which we're all hoping that they can figure it out and keep doing it. So, anywho, that's all I got for Stadia. Let's move to Xbox Cloud Gaming. As you guys know, Psychonauts 2 was released this week. Brilliant game if you guys haven't played it. And when it comes to GDC, when it comes to Gamescom, not trying to be like an Xbox. Some of you guys might not even know this about me. I actually don't like Microsoft. I'm a Sony fanboy. And, I love Sony's first party. I always would choose Sony when the battle was on. But I respect the tech. And lately, I feel like Microsoft has been very consumer friendly. And I feel like they've been listening to a lot of what the consumers are wanting, and they're doing things that are making the consumers happy. And it just, by the news and the moves that they keep making, it's just like, yo, they get it. They get it. They get it. And I think for me with Gamescom, it's another show that shows people like they get it. They get it. They get it. So let's talk. I'll give my take on Gamescom, but I'm just going to open up to the panel. What's your take on Xbox Cloud Gaming's performance here at Gamescom? To get started, Duncan, what's your take here?
Okay, I'm gonna divide this up into a couple of different grades here.
Sure.
I thought their conference was mediocre. It was the worst conference they've probably done this year.
Agreed.
In terms of pacing and absolutely everything. But if you actually step back from it and look at the announcements, it was actually quite a reasonably good sort of conference there. It's nowhere. It's not as good as the E3 one, but it was decent enough. Now, I think people are going to forget about. They announced a ton more games coming to Game Pass, and they're going to cloud with the Humble bundle or the Humble deal that the struck. But obviously, the big takeaway is the Xbox going or Xbox Cloud Gaming or whatever. It's xCloud. I'm just going to go back to xCloud because I've mentioned xCloud in the last couple of weeks. With xCloud going on to consoles, that is just opening up a whole new ballpark for people out there. With that going on, you will be able to play Series X games on last gen hardware. That is what people have been wanting, and I just find it really, really exciting. We got the reconfirmation that the Flight Simulator is coming to Game Pass in the cloud because of this. How many consoles are out there and people playing on Xbox Ones who are going to just be able to jump in and experience next gen on their old Xboxes? It is just a real exciting sort of time, and I think people aren't going to realize how big this is until it hits later this year, probably with the release of Halo. They must be really excited, or not. They must be really comfortable with they've got their infrastructure ready to go. And as we've seen with Psychonauts this week, their cloud is getting better and better nearly with every release on it.
Yeah. Great. Okay. How about you, Chris? What's your take here?
Yeah, I think I've read a few things, kind of people's takes on Microsoft appearance, saying that it's you don't always have to show up for every event. I know we've just lambasted like the cloud ones for not showing up at all, but almost sometimes less is more. And I think Microsoft have such a good setup at the moment already. It almost felt like they didn't need all the time they took. And I think what Duncan was covering there, a lot of it ended up being just kind of developer interviews, which suck up a lot of the energy of the pacing of the show. Spending 10 minutes talking to somebody in a kind of interview style, it doesn't really do much for the flow of, I think, an hour or a 2 hour presentation. And especially if they're talking about a game that isn't in your kind of wheelhouse as such, you can very much switch off for the next 15-20 minutes and then there's another trailer, we're right back in with Jeff Keighley or whoever's announcing them. Right. In terms of the stuff that they showed off, more information on some great titles coming up. I think the Halo, of course, getting a date. Everyone was worried it was going to get pushed back yet again. So I think having a concrete date on that has been fantastic. Forza just looks absolutely beautiful as usual. And like Duncan said, the fact that they're bringing xCloud to older consoles, it's huge. It's such a good an additional consumer move. The fact that if you've got your old dusty box sat there, that will not prevent you from playing the latest titles thanks to the power of the cloud. And that's just Microsoft utilizing the boxes they've already got out there in the wild to reach out to an audience that already exists. Yeah. And so I think in terms of a show, definitely not the best, if not probably one of the slower paced ones we've had in some time. But they can't all be absolute smash hit bangers, and you will have your slow paced ones. Again, it's the long game, and I think a lot of the news coming out of this is just adding more to that amazing wave that Microsoft are definitely riding high on right now. And I'm sure we'll come the end of the year with those two stellar titles coming out. It's going to be a good Christmas for Microsoft.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Monkey? What's your take on Xbox Cloud Gaming at Gamescom?
Yeah, I sort of tried to catch up with it quickly today, but going off of other people's opinions that I respect and trust, it wasn't the best event, too long in the tooth, as they say. There was one particular event that sort of reminded me of from during the Summer Games Fest, where it was just constant interviews about all these games with very little gameplay, and you're just sitting there thinking, show us the games, man. We don't care about all this right now. We want to see the games. This is a big event. Show us the games. And it seemed to go sort of down that sort of avenue. But look, yeah, Halo Day. Wow, everyone's going to be able to play Halo. Doesn't matter what sort of Xbox you've got. Well, you know where you are in the ecosystem. I wish I'd kept my old Xbox One S just to try that out now and see how well the games are going to stream over that. I might pick one of them up just to see. But Forza, man, the Forza trailer was the best out of everything that Xbox brought during the Gamescom. That the level of detail in that game is just next level. It's just absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to get in there and try that out. And we need to remember as well, it's not just the consoles they're going to be bringing xCloud to. I think they're going to use the opportunity with their streaming device, probably to move into the countries where the less what's the word I'm looking for, the less sort of advanced countries where consoles are just not a viable option. Like for Brazil, for instance, the amount of gamers in Brazil that will probably eat up one of these sticks and things like this when the streaming sticks when they come out. You've got the Windows 11 integration coming. You've got the cloud running in the PC app already for insiders. That's probably going to come out very soon. I think towards the end of the year. The one thing that I'm just really missing for xCloud right now is mouse and keyboard support. I think they need to. This is an issue that's been overlooked quite somewhat recently. I think they need to get that sorted. I find it unacceptable, especially with some of the games. Some of the games I can't play because it doesn't recognize keyboard inputs on, through the laptop and the PC. Outer Worlds is one. I was going to try that. Can't get any further. I can create a character, etc. But when I go to put the name in, does not recognize any input, so the game's dead. It's literally sitting dead. So as it's the same. It's the same on the mobile as well. That's a big issue that they really need to fix that.
True. All right. Richie, did we get you take here?
No, I don't really have that much to add, to be honest. I think everything needs to be said has been said. The only thing I would add is something I've said all along, really, with xCloud, and I'm still going to call it xCloud. Everyone should just still call it xCloud. It's good. It's good branding. Just leave it Microsoft.
Yeah.
But I've said I think Microsoft see a future with where you don't have a box under your TV and gaming is just in the cloud, and I think they're going to use this console generation to transition people towards that. In their ecosystem, and being able to play your Xbox Series games on your Xbox One, that's just the next step towards that. Getting more people comfortable playing games in the cloud.
Series S is the gateway drug.
Yeah.
So there's 51 million Xbox One consoles sold, and that's. Again, Monkey was talking about like developing countries, right? So that's most of them who game already probably own an Xbox. So putting this in front of them, giving them an opportunity to try cloud gaming, and again, mobile phones. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a good thing overall for it to come to the previous consoles. But I do want to know for you, Richie, any games stand out in the event for you that you're looking forward to testing out?
Not particularly, to be honest. But there again, I've never really been invested in Microsoft's ecosystem. I've always been very much like yourself. When I've weighed up the platforms in the past, every single time Sony've won out on the first party stuff.
Right.
I can't recall like a single Microsoft first party game that's went, I need to play that. It's just that simple for me. All the stuff they've been doing over the end of the last console generation, what they've been doing so far in this one, is getting me to pay a lot more attention to them. Where before I was kind of just switched off from Xbox almost entirely. Yeah. But that's just because I've already got in the past. I've got a Switch. I've got my 3DS. Yeah. But it's actually there behind me. Don't use it anymore. But in the past I did. I've got my PS4, I've got PS5, now I'm into Stadia. It's like and PC. There's only so many platforms I can be involved in. But I am paying close attention Microsoft, especially with xCloud.
Yeah.
But yeah.
True. And that's what you hear in the gaming industry, right? A lot of Sony fanboys are just like waking up to, wow, okay. Again, I feel like Microsoft is really listening to the consumers, and that is, the difference maker here. They know what people want, they're going for it. The Bethesda studios, them reacting to people saying the first party studio lineup sucks. And I'll be honest with you, it did suck, right? The repeat of Forza Horizon, Halo, and Gears, that's what, I will be honest, turned me away from Xbox. But they're like, all right, we need to fix that. They went on a buying studio spree and ended up purchasing Bethesda. So again, shows that they're listening.
Same here, like the 3 franchises named, I have very little interest in any of them.
Yeah.
So if I'm buying a box just for third party games, then yeah, Xbox is great. But if you're not interested in the first party,
right,
all the third parties I can also play on the Sony side. And then I get things like Horizon Zero Dawn, I get Last of Us, I get the Uncharted games,
right,
stuff that's a bit more my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. It's a wee one. I've had very little interest in Xbox in the past.
Right.
But I actually think it's a fantastic piece of kit.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the games that I want to play.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's what it goes back to, Ace, what you were saying about just Microsoft changing things around. But that kind of investment in those plans, listening to what people say, that was 7 years in the making from them absolutely messing up the launch of the last console. So it's not like they've just flicked the switch and all of a sudden everything's firing on all cylinders. This is deals that were done years in the making.
You're right.
So again, bringing it all back around to cloud, it's in such its infancy. Yeah. The last generation of consoles was what, 7 years, give or take?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Luna's not out of beta, Stadia's not 2 year old. We've just seen all these changes come off the back of 7 years. So again, back to what Rich was saying, to echo everyone's sentiments, it's just, everyone's got different tastes. Play where you want to. Some will have pros, some will have cons, and that's just life in general. Variety's the spice of life, right?
Sure.
So and they'll all have great things coming in the future. You just gotta be patient, enjoy the ride, folks. That's what it's all about.
Agreed. I love that you keep coming back to the infant stage of cloud gaming, and it's 100% true. The way I game, again, it's like I have all of them, right? So if there's a game I want, I know I can find it. Again, I'm not playing I don't have any console. I have a pretty dope rig, but I don't game on it. So my thing is like the fact that I can pretty much play most AAA games in first party exclusive, except from Sony's. In the cloud, I'm good. But yeah, these, like you were saying, 7 years in the making, and hopefully, it gives hope that a company that might not be doing well now still, possibly can turn things around. So that's still to see. But I do want, I think, who was that on here? Michelle. You were saying the chat is pretty hostile to Stadia. I was hoping not. But if you do feel like it's hostile, I truly apologize. We got Ray saying, I love Stadia. Not trying to make this hostile, just giving people an opportunity to just, talk about their favorite or interested cloud game platform. But yeah, hopefully the chat is not too toxic for people. But yeah, anyone else want to add to the Xbox cloud gaming stuff?
I just want to say about the games. I think that is what we're waiting to see from Microsoft. Is all the money they're sticking into to make these games going to pay off? I've said it before, and I'm still sticking with it. I think Microsoft are like a generation behind PlayStation at this moment in time. They now have a couple of games in the upper reaches of the gaming world there, but they're still not consistent. If you get a PlayStation exclusive game made by PlayStation themselves, just like Nintendo, chances are it is going to be good. It's a flip of a coin still for me with Microsoft, if it's going to be an absolutely amazing game or if it's just going to be subpar. And they do need to broaden out the scope of the games, but that's why they bought all these studios. So we're still in the wait and see sort of stage with them.
Yes.
That PlayStation Studios logo carries a lot of weight because they've just keep releasing good titles under that banner, so it gets that expectation. So they establish the quality. Nintendo have done the same over decades. Microsoft, I think, in the infancy of doing that, they've started. Okay, we need to buy some studios. Our first party lineup is where we've fallen down. Let's buy studios. Bethesda was an amazing deal for them potentially,
yeah.
But it's going to be a couple of years, I think, before we start really seeing fruit from that.
Yeah.
Talking about just on Duncan mentioned, broadening the horizon. We know that they're actively working on, cloud native games, sort of integration with cloud only. They've been hiring for those positions. That's going to be a while away before we see, the labours of that come to fruition. But yeah, I'm a wee bit worried, Microsoft. How long can they keep the value up for? How long can they keep giving the consumers, all this, sort of great value for money? I'm unsure for how long they can captivate, because as Richie says, and for some reason I've missed out on these games over the years. I'm sort of working my way through them in PlayStation just now, because I was an expert. I haven't owned a PlayStation since the PlayStation 2. So I missed out in those big first-party games. And now I'm playing them, I can see why people drop 60, 70, 80 bucks on a PlayStation exclusive game. They are absolutely different class. Microsoft, with their upcoming first-party games, have got a massive job to try and compete with the level of games that Sony have been coming out with, because let's face it, that's their competition. They're not really competing with Nintendo. The less I say about Nintendo, the better. To be honest, it's interesting. It's exciting. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they can keep it up. Microsoft, honestly, I don't see how they can keep up the value.
I think it's good. Its scale is one of the ways they're going to do it. They're going to be trying to get as many people as possible to get onto it, and with putting it into TVs and things like that. And with gaming being different out there, how does Fortnite make money? All the microtransactions.
So appealing to billions of little kids who steal their mum and daddy's credit cards.
Yes, we're seeing that more and more, and I think you can actually see this in Microsoft's thinking with the games coming up this year and what games have actually been released this year. Big talking point of a game which has drawn in millions of people from E3 was Sea of Thieves with the Pirates Life expansion. That has pulled a lot of people in. They're going to be doing these sort of deals, and I've seen with Flight Sim as well. They're going to be tying up with Top Gun. There's just going to be. There's going to be service games in the subscription to keep people coming back for more and keep on dropping down for a season pass or some DLC and things like that. Your game, which you like, Forza, I love it too. It's absolutely amazing. But in Forza, there's so much stuff you can go in and buy. You can buy the time savers. You can go buy these extra car packs and things like that. That is how they're going to make this sustainable. I can't say it now. You know what I'm trying to say. Sustainable. Down the line by adding all these DLCs in their key games.
So
But when does it
go ahead.
become boring though? Sorry, because I find this right. I'm a very pernickety person when it comes to games. I either usually love them or hate them, and I'm finding less and less games that I'm really enjoying these days. Like the only games that I can consistently enjoy are games like Near Automata, Near Replicant. You know, games written by such a creative mind like Yoko Taro, who can capture my imagination and capture and immerse me into the worlds that he creates. I just feel like there's less and less games like that coming. It's just a lot of it seems to be sort of recycled, add a wee bit different here, something a wee bit, but nothing that's brand new and exciting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of repetitiveness I feel in games. So who's going to be the one to come out and give us something brand new that can encapsulate someone like me? I want to give you 40, 50 hours of my time in this game, but give me a reason to give you that time.
Yeah,
See,
that's a
that,
great question. But I think just like Richie was saying, when you look at Sony's first party studios, there's a reason why, their logo carries weight, and Nintendo as well. They've proven that. I mean, if Sony release a game, best believe like you're getting a damn great experience with that game released. I feel like those games. And then when it comes to, again, Microsoft, it's been rinse and repeat. But with Bethesda under, think about like Starfield next year and the next Elder Scrolls, the next Doom. Those games are going to be exclusive to that platform. So I feel like soon, right, that deal is going to start playing out to where they are going to hopefully start having those games that make you say, shoot, I need to pick an Xbox for this. I need to play this on a Microsoft console. But I get what you're saying. There's less and less of those like Eco, Shadow of the Colossus. Those are my games, man. But it feels like there's less and less of those type of games. But hopefully we start seeing those games and seeing creativity go back into making games like that. But yeah.
Yeah, what I would say to Hellmonkey's point, I think Game Pass is actually going to encourage them sort of games. I think we're going to see a lot more experimental games onto Game Pass from Microsoft Studios, just to keep the content going. And because they don't have to worry about how much the game is going to sell, they can be a bit more creative and a bit more experimental. We've got that new Rare game coming out, and is it next year or 2 years' time? Which is completely came out from my head. It's a brand new IP that is going somewhere completely different. So I'm actually quite relaxed about new types of games and experiences coming to Xbox because of Game Pass.
Yeah,
I agreed. Just something to bring out when it comes to Game Pass and the way media format has been going. Some people don't think like Game Pass is going to be sustainable in the long run. And if you look at this, the reason why Netflix and all these other companies are trying to go to Disney Plus, that streaming approach, and then you look at what's happening with music and Spotify, they found a way to make these streaming like Netflix like service work for them. And I think gaming is just a matter of time, and I think Microsoft is in forefront of this. Game Pass is going to be something that companies look at and say, like, if it's successful, you're going to see them hopefully start like modeling that. But yeah, I feel like that's where gaming is moving in the future, and they're ahead of it right now. And it's a matter of time, I'm telling you, before you start seeing all these companies look at that and say, how can we make something similar to that? But yeah. All right. Don't want to talk y'all's ear off, but I want to say, Richie and Chris, man, it's great having you guys on here. Very insightful. Love y'all's take on the cloud gaming discussion pieces. And yes, it's been awesome having you guys on the show today.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Ace. Thank you very much for having us. I will say as well, in all of the stuff that we've covered today, ups and downs, lefts and rights and everything, the best thing with gaming in general is it's always evolving, it's always changing, and there's space for everyone. There's space for all models, all subscription styles, types. Buy a game outright, get a game on a mobile game. Our mantra in our channel that was thankfully coined by Richie many months ago now. That we
I probably stole it.
You probably stole it in some way, shape, or form. But what we definitely attest to is play wherever makes you the happiest.
Exactly.
Like that in a nutshell. It doesn't matter who it's with, where it's at, how much you pay. I mean, how much you paid for it is kind of a key point to it, but everyone has a certain degree to their wallet. But at its core, just play wherever you enjoy playing. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If you play on Stadia, Luna, GeForce Now, hell, dig out your old Game Boy from 1992 and have a go on that. It'll still work. But yeah, thank you very much for having us on. It's been great, and I think it's great to have conversations that cover all platforms.
Yeah.
But always approach them from an open mind. Yes, some are better than others, arguably, but that's all cool. That's all cool.
Absolutely. So let me just give y'all a sec to let people know what you do and where they can find you. So to get started, Duncan, sir, what do you do and where can people find you?
You can find me at Cloudy with Games. We've got lots of stuff happening tomorrow, which I haven't probably talked about enough, but you can check me out there.
Awesome. Good to have you always on the show. Sound of Stadia, Chris and Richie, what do you do, sirs? And where can people find you, sirs?
You can find us at youtube.com/Sounds of Stadia or on Twitter at Sounds of Stadia, where we do a weekly Stadia and gaming podcast rounding up very similar to this, all the Stadia and gaming news, and as a part of a discussional chat show for about an hour and a half. It drops every Monday on YouTube and all the podcast services that are available out there. We also have a topical side quest show where we go off the beaten path and talk a little bit more in depth about a very specific subject. Again, it branches off from the news and allows us to talk a little bit more at length, as do you guys on this show. And we also do live streams, first looks, and have a Discord and everything. So just search for Sounds of Stadia. You'll find us. You'll find me personally at CyberChris2077. If you want to hear more personal takes as opposed to the channel's overall views. And Richie is another 1/3 of us. We do have Tom, who's our co-host on maternity. No, he's on paternity leave. I did it again. Paternity leave because he's a dad. And,
he's a papa.
He's a papa. And Richie's one of my long-time friends and also fellow co-hosts as well. So I'll hand it over to him to sign off his bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, Chris just pretty much summed up what our channel does, so this makes it hard for me to do. But you can catch me on Twitter at RichieC89, and I definitely recommend this. If you want to know more about us as Sounds of Stadia, this week's side quest was actually on us as part of our reaching 100 episodes. We decided to go into a bit of like why we started the channel, why we decided to start covering Stadia. So it's if someone's new to the channel, it's probably a good starting point for you.
Yeah. I have to say I'm a big fan of the side quest show, and it's so cool just having 30 minutes or so to just really get into it. And I have to say, like I said earlier, something I really appreciate about you guys is you guys are, you're honest about discussion. Oh, there we go. Damn it.
Bye.
Still here, guys.
What a way to end the show.
I did make it, guys. I have to say, it did make the 2 hours. But anyway, I do appreciate you guys because, again, you guys just give it like it is. If, Stadia's having a good time, you guys let us know. If they're not, you guys let us know. I just love the honesty and the consistency. I would say you guys are one of the most consistent people. You guys don't miss shows, and it's pretty cool to have that 100 episodes of your podcast. It's really
we're just surprised the fact that again like many of us, it just started off as a hobby talking about games. Every weekend we'll get together as friends and just start chatting, and 100 weeks like don't get me wrong, being at home on lockdown has helped us be consistent. 100 weeks is a long damn time to do anything.
Right.
But
so
great.
Good stuff, man. Really enjoy y'all stuff. So great to have you again. Great discussion piece on here as well. Link is in the description. You guys can go check them out, and I'll tweet this afterwards too. Good stuff overall. Monkey, do you have anything to plug?
Keep your eyes peeled. We got some new stuff coming. That's going to be exciting and different.
Okay. Do we?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All
that,
right.
that purchase I was going to make very
Oh,
soon.
okay. Yeah.
Ah,
All right.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you, Monkey. It's good to have you again. Glad that you're feeling a lot better this week.
Thank
But
you,
yeah,
man.
yeah, for sure. All right, fellas, we'll be back again same time next week. And again, appreciate these guys, Sons of Stadia. Definitely check them out. Link is in the description below. We'll catch you guys next week. Till next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.